Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Angel, and today we're in beautiful Ukraine, flying a very Ukrainian-themed livery, which I'm very glad they included with this, by the way. The AN-2 Antonov. Now, this is originally called, and I'm going to butcher this in Russian, of course, the Kukurznik, aka corn crop duster, or something along those lines. Now, this is a Soviet-era mass-produced single-engine biplane. It's a utility/agricultural design, manufactured by the Antonov Design Bureau beginning in 1947. Antonov being a Ukrainian company, of course, which was part of the Soviet Union then, but we'll forget that. Of course, designed by Oleg Antonov, first flew in 1947, August 31st, and it's still being produced in China, we believe, as the Y5, but it was built from 1947 to 2001. Yeah, and they're still in actual duty service very much everywhere. They're really useful aircraft. Now, over 18,000 were built so far over that time period. And it was designed as a utility aircraft for forestry and agriculture, and there's a lot of trees there, so we'll skip that and we'll just go straight to the outside. So I need to click on the right thing to do this. Let's slow my camera down and we'll take a look at it here. Now, of course, it's a very adaptable airframe. It can be used for multiple different things. This is the Antonov Airlines livery, which is, I like it, it's beautiful. And, of course, it's been used with hopper versions of crop dusting, firefighting, aerial firefighting, there is scientific versions, water bombers, flying ambulances, float-equipped seaplanes, lightly armed combat versions for dropping paratroops, and they could technically carry bombs. Now, these were also used, I believe, during or were going to potentially be used as drones by the Russians. In fact, there's still a plan, I believe, by the Russians to use some of these as drones, because they will basically be showing up as drones to anti-aircraft systems, and, well, they're extremely cheap to get rid of. So you basically use up anti-aircraft missiles with a bunch of useless drones, and then send your missiles in. Devious plan. So crew of 1 to 2 can carry 12 passengers and 4,500 kilos. It has a wingspan of 18 meters or 59 feet. It stands at about 13 feet tall. Now, it's powered by a Shvetkv, again, mispronounced that one, 9-cylinder air-cooled supercharged radial engine, putting out 1,000 horsepower, so big power here. This is Otter sort of levels of performance. Maximum speed of 139 knots, cruises at 100. Has a stall speed of 27 knots, which we'll be testing. Range is 450-ish nautical miles, and its fuel consumption is about 49 to 53 gallons an hour. Pretty potent. Now, we're flying here out of Velika Lepetrika in Ukraine. Again, probably mispronounced that one. Starsky, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. The Ukrainian still sucks. But I'll link to this airport and another one that I use in Ukraine pretty regularly. They're both agricultural strips where the Antonov AN-2 would have flown, and probably still does fly, although probably not right now. Either way. So this is on the market. This is the Famous Flier aircraft we've been expecting for a while, and it's a beautifully detailed 3D model. I have to say, they've done a rather good job with it. Really pretty. Tons of detail. Love the engine detail. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. No complaints about it. And of course, as you can see here, we do have the regular version, a ski version, a float version, which we'll test out, and a version that is with the GNS 430 and 530 in it, which is super, super useful. Unfortunately, as you can see, the liveries are only on the stock version. This is another Asobo-ism, where for some reason these Famous Flyers, where they have multiple variants with like wheels and skis and things, and floats, for some reason they only put the liveries on the stock version, which is so stupid. And we can open the door. Oh, we can open the cargo door too. Cool. Can I close this? How do I do that? Do I have to look up here? I probably have to look up here. Now, it's weird that the door opens as well as the cargo door. That's quite strange, but there you go. Does this open back here? It does not. But the cockpit door does open from inside the cockpit, so we'll go take a look at that in a second. Nothing else happens with the seats or anything. But a nicely detailed interior here, and just look at that. Even the warping on the panels is rather nicely done. That is beautifully created. Let's go take a look at our cockpit, shall we? So, of course, we've got the usual things we'd expect in here, as my controller sticks are wandering around. We have windows that could open, which is lovely. We have usual functions and fiddles, like we have visors that can be controlled manually. We have the door that can be opened from here. Don't know how to close it again, because finding that click spot is going to be interesting. But let's open the windows. Windows are... Oh, we have little windows too. Is that like a McDonald's window? I think that's like a McDonald's drive-through window. We could just pop the little one open down there. People can hand you stuff, I suppose. We have our intercom systems there, and it's very Russian. You know what's not Russian, though? Tooltips. Yeah, tooltips are not very Russian at all. So we'll put that onto our left tank, which is over that side. It's our fuel pump. It's our flood lighting down here. Fuel level indicator. What's this now? This is the airframe air fire system. There's a different check systems there. Now, what do we have back here? These are our heaters and with wipers. Let's put on our power. And we have wipers that function. Which is jolly nice to have wipers that function. Passenger signal lamps. We have a cover over oil dilution back there. We have our radio down here. In fact, let's make sure we get all our systems turned on here. So a lot of our systems are going to be located on this central panel. Again, if you don't speak Russian, it's useful to be able to have all these various things up and down. Cabin lighting we don't need. Movable light we don't need. Floor light we don't need. Tailwheel lock we don't need right now. I'm going to have to guess my way through so much of this. We need to, of course, have all these power switches on here, because all these flaps power switches all need to be turned on separately. That's our engine fire. We don't need that. That's the starter power. We'll need that on. And we have our heading indicator there. We could also remove our yoke here. Airflow, hot air entry. Now these are aileron trim, rudder trims. These are all various trim controls here. These are our flap controls. Mixture is right there. I'm assuming that's it. Yep, that looks fine. For some reason, mixture is back, not forwards. We'll just keep the throttle cracked for now. Down here we have carb heat. We have fuel valves. That is to be forward. And yeah, sorry, flaps. Emergency flaps up, so you can just pull them up in one go. I'm assuming these indicators all need to be switched on. That seems logical. It is. Wonderful. So, how do I start this beast? I don't quite know. But we're going to try and work it out as we go through this, because I've not touched this before. I made it do a clicky. You know what? We're not here to look at me starting procedures and work out how to do things, so I'm just going to cheat and use my honeycomb yoke. And oh, mags are on. That's a start, isn't it? I wonder if that clicks over now. No, I'm being special, so I'll just do this. Okay, so we have an engine. Pneumatic brakes there, as you can hear. So with our windows, we do have a difference in engine note from the windows. Now, this is really weird because it's on discount already, which is strange for an aircraft in the marketplace that were just released. It's £8 something for me, which is really funny because it's brand new. They're normally about £12. And it's described as a discount because it's a package. And of course you're getting the wheeled floats and skis with it as well, which other ones have done the same, but they were always higher priced. So I'm not sure, unless proceeds are going to something that I'm more than aware of, but it's the cheapest one they've released. And dear God, that nose is interesting to see over. I can't even tell where I'm at. That appears to be the taxiway there. I'm looking over the cowling to see where I'm going. I can't see a damn thing. Well, we're on the grass, but it's a biplane. It can handle it. Cockpit's incredibly airy and nice. I must say I like that. You're just going to have to get used to, I think, in many cases, the switch layouts and where things are, rather than what the name is on the Switch, because the tooltip's very helpful for that. You can at least see what they do. I know some of you don't like the tooltips. I think they're really important personally, and it's a sim, so it's not a big deal. But there we go. Right, we're lined up. So where's my tail wheel lock again? I remember seeing that somewhere. I know it's around here. Like, I remember seeing... Oh, we can move the lamp. That's sick. That's a nice little level of detail there. And why isn't this radio on? I probably missed a switch somewhere. There's a very high likelihood of that. But look at... The detailing of this isn't bad at all. I quite like this. Like, I've heard some comments that it's a bit kind of hit and miss in places, but I think in general... The whole package you get from this is rather nicely put together. Now, we saw the tail wheel switch, didn't we? There it is. Okay, let's give it a whirl. All 1,000 horses. Get the tail up here. Whoa, Nelly. And she's up. Real easy. Pull that power back a touch. Pull back our RPM, and we're climbing away. And now we're just off from the Dnieper River, off to our side there. So we're just going to fly down the bank a little bit before we start to turn around towards the river. So the aircraft is very good at flying very slow, so we're going to do that right now, just to see how she fares. So we're going to throttle all the way back here. I love how the SP goes over to 10 there. I'm not sure whether that's going to be knots or miles per hour. Kilometers an hour. It definitely doesn't go 10 knots, that's for sure. But let's see how slow we can get it, shall we? Flaps are coming down. Let's take a little look outside. I mean, it's not like we can go super fast either. This old girl's chugging. The sounds are a touch on the quiet side, but we'll close the window and see what it's like with that. Much quieter now, but God, this thing can go so slowly. The loiter ability of this aircraft is going to be fantastic. It's maneuverable, very maneuverable. I must say I like that. We'll fly back and we'll land, then we're going to go take the float plane for a spin and see how she fares. So, pull my flaps up here. Give it some power and gain some speed. And we'll do what we can to try and get up towards the airfield, put it down, and then we'll go take her for a swim. Where's the field? Is that it to our right? It's by the main road, isn't it? Yeah, I think I see it off our nose right there. So we'll enter the pattern, we'll turn around and we'll bring her into land. And then we'll take her to one of my favourite spots in British Columbia and we'll test out the float plane. Mostly because we don't have any Ukrainian seaplane based sceneries, so there is that. Let's get some trim in here. Bring the nose down. She's been a little aggressive on the nose up. I must say, for £8, this is a stonkingly good aircraft. I haven't looked into any depth on its systems, but even as it is, this is a fantastic recreation. It looks gorgeous. Loads of features. Flies well. Lots of playability for the sim. Appears to be an accurate representation of the interior. And they're a particularly iconic aircraft, so I can see myself having fun with this. And it's not slow. I mean, I'd say performance is going to be relatively akin to an Otter. But she can fly slower. Right, flaps are coming down. Let's see just how tight she can make this. There's our runway. Turning now for final. Lots of notches of flaps here. Here come the barn doors. Oh, she's sinking down nicely now. We're coming a little fast and steep, but we'll see if we can correct that. I bounced. I have made an absolute fist of this. But we'll stop in time anyway because it's such a... Okay, we're off the end. I'm rushing because I know I have to go take a look at the float plane, so I have faffed that the heck up completely. Completely faffed that up. God, that was awful. But I'm rushing again because I know I'm on a time crunch with this, so let's go take a look at the float plane and see what she can do. Okay, so we're here on the water at Guildford Seaplane Base. And we're going to take this old girl for a bit of a spin and see just how she handles things. Now, I don't know where they put the water rudder. There probably would be one, wouldn't there? Well, she's already being a little bit interesting. And we've only got partial throttle here, so let's take a look outside. Not the finest when it comes to the water. Northern Star. Interesting livery. It's the only livery that comes to the float plane, of course. And we have the ability to steer out the water even though our water rudders are up, it would seem. Quite skippy. I'm not sure if this is intended or not, but we have quite a lot of steering ability with those up. Let's take her up to power and see what she can do here, shall we? Little bit of forward stick. Ease that back. And lift her off. So quite bumpy, even at low speed of the water. That's quite weird, I have to say. I was rather surprised by that. Really, really bumpy at low speed in terms of its water handling, because most seaplanes in the sim are relatively smooth at low speed, and then when you start to pick up speed and start to get towards a step, it will start to get really skippy. Whereas this is very skippy from the start. Now, she's a bit of a slug in the air with the floats on, but they are pretty big. I mean, it's not exactly a dainty aircraft, is it? Look at this thing. Engine sounds are nice. There's the seaplane base, so we're going to line up on the channel over there, and we'll put it down in the water. So, a couple of stages of flaps in. There we go. And we're going to bring her down nice and gentle and see what she can do. This isn't exactly a comprehensive review of the seaplane aspect, but I wanted to try it out and see how it feels. But I did notice even at very low speed there, without any real ability to have lift, the aircraft wanted to skip. And that's one of the things with the Otobo's water. I really hope it's something they work on in the near future in terms of how they actually make it behave. Because it really is ruining this side of the sim. Okay, nice and gentle, level attitude. A little bit of a skip there. Okay. Quite skippy. So avionics are on there on the radio, so that must have just been me. But I'm guessing... No, that's just a screw. I don't know where they'd hide a water rudder. Because that... It's caged for some reason. That's an odd one. Got the standard radios there, got the modern radios there. So, quite unusual, and I don't see any very obvious difference in the cockpit that would indicate the water rudder. I know it has to be around here somewhere, but it's one of those things you're just not sure about. Again, it's all in Russian, so I'm struggling with terms to language and work out what means what in this aircraft in terms of defining where the various functions are. But I want to do a quick look at it. Obviously, it's a cheap aircraft. It's a Famous Flier. Most people are going to pick those up. And it's definitely got potential. The land-based version more so than the seaplane. The seaplane, I feel, it's a little weird on the water. Like, it has potential, but it just behaves a bit strangely there at low speed. And I don't think that's necessarily an intended function because, again, very bouncy. Just watch. Okay, we're facing the wrong way, so... What are you? What do you do? That stick on the... No. Well, that made that disappear. And now, for some reason, we have zero ability to actually steer out the water, even though before it was very steerable. So we're just going to call it there, I think. Hi, Cliff. Do you like violence? Yep, you like violence. We chose violence today. Let's enjoy violence today. Violence! Yeah, that happened. Again, it's a Famous Flier. Most likely people are going to check this out. I think that's a good thing. I think I need to give this a lot more time to really find the vibe for it, but I like it. It's got potential, and it definitely feels like an aircraft that has been well looked after. I'm going to have to really go and study this plane, because you're going to have to work out where the switches are in a world of, frankly, a lot of controls. Startup is very simple, I will say, compared to what one might expect it to be, so there is that. As a radial, it starts up very simply, which I'm guessing means there's not a huge ton of system depth, but we're not exactly going to get a chance to fly a lot of these planes in a full systems depth manner, so I'm glad we get them at all, especially when a rendition looks like this. And considering some of the Famous Fliers have been a little bit on the wonky side, could have been far, far worse. I just wish Asobo would learn to put liveries on different versions of the aircraft, because, dear God, I'm sick of one version having a bunch of liveries and the rest not. Please fix that, Asobo. Dear God, please fix that. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.